The Mississippi River cuts through some of the most fertile, most storied land in America. Cotton fields, cypress swamps, sleepy river towns. It looks peaceful. It photographs like a postcard. But along its banks, and across the state that shares its name, there's a longer list of things that can genuinely hurt you than most people expect. Some of them bite, some of them sting. One of them can pull you under the water without a sound. Today we're counting down 10 of them. The real animals, the real numbers, the real risk, pulled from wildlife agencies and researchers who actually track this stuff. If you like knowing exactly what's actually out there, go ahead and subscribe now. It takes 2 seconds, and it really helps the channel keep making these. All right, let's get into the list. Number 10, yellow jackets. Mississippi's most aggressive stinging insects, often mistaken for bees because of the yellow and black banding. Unlike a honeybee, which can only sting once, a yellow jacket can sting repeatedly, and a disturbed underground nest, often hidden in a lawn or under a porch, can send dozens of angry insects after you at once. Most people who end up in a Mississippi emergency room from a backyard encounter get there because of these, not anything with teeth or fangs. The best way to avoid them is simple. Check for nest activity before mowing or working near the ground, and never swat at one, since crushing it releases a pheromone that calls the rest of the colony in. Number 9, the black widow. Found throughout the state, easily identified by the glossy black body and red hourglass mark on the female's underside. Its venom is roughly 15 times more potent than a rattlesnake's, drop for drop. But the spider is shy, rarely bites, and males aren't even large enough to break human skin. It's the females hiding in woodpiles and shed corners you have to watch for. So the easiest way to avoid a bite is simply to wear gloves and shake out boots, gloves, or firewood before reaching in. Number 8, the brown recluse. A small tan spider with a violin-shaped mark, and one of the few spiders in the country whose bite can actually rot tissue. It hides in stored boxes, closets, and clothing left on the floor, and its bite is often painless at first, which is exactly what makes it dangerous. By the time necrosis sets in, days have already passed. To avoid it, keep stored boxes and clothing sealed, and always check shoes and gloves that have been sitting untouched for a while before putting them on. Number 7, the cottonmouth. Also called the water moccasin, it's the only truly aquatic venomous snake in North America, common in Mississippi's swamps, sloughs, and slow river backwaters. It's famous for standing its ground and flashing the white, cotton-colored inside of its mouth as a warning rather than fleeing like most snakes would. Its venom causes severe tissue damage and internal bleeding, and while fatalities are rare today thanks to widely available antivenom, every single bite still counts as a genuine medical emergency. The safest approach is to stay out of dense shoreline vegetation and always wear tall rubber boots when wading through swampy water. Number 6, the eastern coral snake. The most overlooked killer on this list, because it's so often mistaken for the harmless scarlet king snake. Remember the old rhyme, red touches yellow, kills a fellow, and you're most of the way to telling them apart. Its neurotoxic venom is different from anything else here. Instead of destroying tissue, it can gradually shut down breathing, and symptoms can be delayed for hours, which has fooled people into thinking they were fine right up until they weren't. Antivenom exists, but it's now rare and expensive to obtain, making a coral snake bite one of the most genuinely serious emergencies in the state. Since it rarely bites unless directly handled, the simplest protection is never picking up an unfamiliar red and yellow banded snake, no matter how harmless it looks. Okay, we're right around the halfway point, and this is exactly where the list stops being about insects and starts being about animals that can actually take you down. Don't go anywhere, because the most interesting part of this list is still ahead, and the very last one is living in far more places near you than you'd think. Number 5, the eastern diamondback rattlesnake. North America's heaviest venomous snake, capable of reaching 6.5 feet and over 30 pounds, found across southern Mississippi. Its venom is highly hemorrhagic, breaking down blood vessels and pushing the body toward shock. The one mercy it offers is the one nothing above it on this list will, a rattle that warns you before it strikes. So the best defense is simply to stop moving and back away slowly the moment you hear it. Number 4, feral hogs. Not native and not going anywhere, wild hogs have spread across most of Mississippi, descended from escaped domestic and European boar stock, and the state now classifies them as a nuisance species you can legally hunt year-round with almost no restrictions. A big boar can weigh several hundred pounds, run in tight, aggressive family groups, and will absolutely charge when cornered or defending piglets. Tusks first. On top of the physical danger, they tear up crops and wetlands and carry diseases that can spread to livestock, pets, and occasionally people. If you spot a group in the wild, the best move is to give them a wide path and never get between a sow and her piglets. Number 3. The black bear. Mississippi's bear population all but disappeared by the 1990s, down to barely a dozen animals statewide. Today, thanks to decades of conservation work and the arrival of breeding females for the first time in generations, wildlife officials estimate somewhere between 150 and 300 bears statewide, concentrated along the Mississippi, Pearl, and Pascagoula river systems. Sightings have climbed noticeably in recent years, especially along the Gulf Coast. Remarkably, there has never been a single documented black bear attack on a person in Mississippi's recorded history. But as that population keeps growing, wildlife officials are watching closely for how long that record holds. Since bears are drawn in mainly by food, securing garbage, pet food, and bird feeders is by far the most effective way to keep one from ever wandering into your yard. Number 2. The bull shark. The surprise entry, and the reason freshwater doesn't automatically mean safe. Bull sharks can adjust their own body chemistry to survive far up freshwater rivers, and they've been documented well up the Mississippi River itself, hundreds of miles from the Gulf of Mexico. Many researchers consider them responsible for more shallow water and river attacks nationwide than any other shark species, for one simple reason. Unlike most sharks, they hunt exactly where people actually swim, wade, and fish. The simplest precaution is avoiding murky river water at dawn, dusk, or after heavy rain, since that's exactly when visibility drops and bull shark activity tends to rise. Number 1. The American alligator. With an estimated 30,000 to 38,000 alligators living in Mississippi's rivers, lakes, and marshes, this is easily the most numerous large predator in the state, and one of the largest ever pulled from its waters, weighed close to 700 pounds and stretched past 13 feet. Unprovoked attacks remain statistically rare, but alligators are patient ambush hunters, capable of surprising speed on both land and water, and spend most of their time nearly submerged and almost impossible to spot until they're already moving. It tops this list simply because there are so many of them, living in exactly the waterways people fish, boat, and let their dogs swim in every single day of the year. The single most effective safeguard is never swimming or letting pets near the water's edge at dawn, dusk, or night, since that's when alligators are most active and hardest to see.